Hello everyone, a very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome back once again on the YouTube channel of Career Launcher. Friends, I am Gaurav Gupta and I am one of the mentors of Quant and LRDI with Career Launcher, and I've been teaching students who are preparing for MBA entrance examinations since last 17 years. All right. So, friends, in this series, let's continue this series in which we are discussing some of the previous year paper questions of arithmetic. And as most of you who are present in this session, they would know that in the previous sessions, in the previous three sessions, we have already discussed the questions which are related to percentages and profit and loss. Today, we'll continue from where we have left in the last class. We have discussed some of the questions of profit and loss which have appeared in the previous year paper of CAT examination. Now, friends, obviously, it's like there should not be any confusion in understanding this fact that if you will practice the questions from the last few years, especially the questions from last 4 to 5 years, then in that case you will have a perfect idea about the level of difficulty of CAT examination, the type of questions that are asked from different areas, and definitely the pattern of CAT examination. Also, you will understand, like if you look at the entire section, let's say the entire section of quantitative ability, then solving the entire section at once you have finished your syllabus, then solving an entire section will also help you in I would say understanding the skill of time management. Now, which questions you need to select, which questions you need to reject. This is a particular skill that needs to be that needs to be understood before you enter the actual examination hall. All right. So, friends, let's begin this session. Okay. So, I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to all of you. A very good afternoon to everyone, those who are already present in this live session. Very good afternoon to each and every one of you. Please quickly confirm if I'm clearly audible and visible so that we can begin this session. So, friends, welcome all of you. Let's see how many of you are actively participating in this session, because here again we'll be solving some of the previous year paper questions of profit, loss, and discount. And I'll be giving you some efficient ways of solving these questions. All right, so let's begin solving these questions. So question number one will appear on your screen in a few moments. All of you, please ready with your pen and a sheet of paper. One sheet of paper will be sufficient enough to do the rough work of all the questions that we are going to discuss in today's session. All right. So question number one on your screen. Now this question is from CAT 2021 slot number 1. Now, obviously, everybody would want to do as much less rough work as possible to tackle each of these questions. Less rough work means you are using you are writing less, and that means you are using less amount of time to solve these questions. The time that you will save on every question can be invested to attempt some of the questions which you may not be able to attempt if you are spending a lot of time on every question. So read the question, understand the dynamics of the question, and try to find out the most efficient solution for each of these questions. I will be giving you 2 to 3 minutes to solve every question. And you can post your answers once you are done. Once you have the answer, please post in the chat box. Right now, irrespective of the method that you are using, just try to find out the answer. So let's read out question number 1. So question number 1 from CAT 21 slot 1. Amal purchases some pens at rupees 8 each. To sell these, he hires an employee at a fixed wage. He sells 100 of these pens at rupees 12 each. If the remaining pens are sold at rupees 11 each, then he makes a profit of rupees 300. So that was one of the cases. While he makes a net loss of rupees 300 if the remaining pens are sold for rupees 9 each. We'll have to find out the wage of the employee in INR. Let's see if anyone has the answer of this one. Yes, any answer for this one? Now here what you can do is you can form two separate equations and then find out the answer. Okay. Otherwise, just looking at the difference between the two cases, you will also be able to find out the answer. All right. Any answer? No. Okay. Let's begin solving this one. Okay. Now here there are two cases. Once he started selling the pens. So first of all, he sold some of the pens at a fixed price, but the remaining number of pens, if sold at rupees 11 each, he will get an overall profit of 300. On the other hand, if the remaining number of pens are sold for rupees 9 each, then he will have a net loss of 300 rupees. Okay. So first of all, there is no need to make the equation. Let's talk about the remaining number of pens. Okay. So the statement that I have marked, using that statement, number one, I'll be finding the number of remaining pens. Okay. So if I read the entire question once again, Amal purchases some pens at rupees 8 each. Okay. So the cost price of all the pens is same, that is rupees 8. Now to sell these, he hires an employee at a fixed age. So what will be the total cost incurred by Amal? The total cost incurred by Amal will be the cost of these pens. Okay, I don't know the total number of pens, right? But the total cost incurred by him will be the number of pens multiplied by the cost price of each pen plus the wage of the employee that he hired. So this will be the total costing. Now after that, he sold 100 of these pens at rupees 12 each, right? So 100 pens are sold at rupees 12 each. Now they are talking about the remaining number of pens. Okay, so Meghadri has given an answer 2.5. Meghadri, let's check it out. Okay, so now first of all, let's talk about the remaining number of pens. So I'll assume that these remaining number of pens, other than 100 pens, this remaining number of pens is X. Okay. Now, if these remaining pens are sold at 11 each, then I will get the total sales from these X number of pens as 11X, right? On the other hand, if these are sold at rupees 9 each, I will get 9X, right? Now, what will be the difference between these two? Now, let's understand that while selling, the 100 pens are sold in both the cases at rupees 12 each. So the difference between the selling price or the difference between the profits or the loss will happen because of these remaining pens. Okay, right? So whatever change is there in profit or in loss will happen because of these remaining pens only. Okay, so in the first case, these remaining pens are sold at rupees 11 each and the total sales is 11x. And in the second case, when each of these pens is sold at rupees 9 each, the sales is 9x, right? The difference between these two, that is 2x, should be equal to the difference between the profit and the loss incurred in each of these cases. Okay, so in the first case, it was the net profit of 300. In the second case, it was a net loss of 300. So earlier when I was having a profit of 300, now I have the loss of 300. That means the selling price decreased by a total of 600 rupees. I'll repeat this. In one case, I was having a profit of 300 rupees when I sold them at 11 each, right? So 11x corresponds to a profit of 300 rupees. You can say that. In the second case, when the remaining pens were sold at rupees 9 each, that means 9x. So 9x corresponds to the loss of 300 rupees, right? So earlier when the remaining part was sold at 11x, there was a profit of 300. Now the remaining part was sold at 9x. There is a loss of 300. So the change is only because of these remaining number of pens, that is 2x, and the change is equal to 600. Earlier it was plus 300, now it is minus 300. So the gap is total of 600. So from here I'll get the total number of pens, 600 divided by 2, that is 300. So this is the remaining number of pens, right? So remaining number of pens agar 300 hai, so what will be the total number of pens? Total pens, 100 pens are already sold. These are the remaining 300. So total number of pens will be 100 plus 300, that is 400. Okay. So if the question is about find the total number of pens which are sold, so it will be equal to 400. But the question is asking about the wage. Okay. Now let's talk about the wage. Now I'll start from the cost price. Now the cost incurred on these pens. Now Amal purchases these pens at rupees 8 each. How many pens? 400 pens. So the total cost incurred while buying these pens will be 400 multiplied by 8. Also, he hires an employee at a fixed wage. So in the costing, let's say W be the wage of this employee. So in the cost, this W wage of this employee will also be added. So I can say that the total cost incurred is 3200 plus W, right? Now pick up any of the two cases when the remaining pens were sold at 11 each. He's having a profit of 300 rupees. So the selling price of these 400 pens will be, first of all, 100 pens were sold at 12, and then the remaining 300 were sold at 11 each. So the total selling price is 1200 plus 3300, that is 4500 rupees. Now, in this case, Amal had a profit of 300 rupees. So you know the cost price, you know the selling price, you know the profit, you can make an equation and find out the value of W. All right. So I can say that cost price plus the profit is equal to the selling price, right? So cost price is, cost price plus the profit. I'll erase this part. So I can say that the cost price plus profit is equal to selling price. Cost price is 3200 plus W. Profit is 300. So the left hand side will become 3500 plus W, and that is equal to the total selling price, which is 4500. So from here, you will get the wage of the employee, 4500 minus 3500, that is 1000. Okay. So 1000 will be the answer of this question. Am I clear to each and every one of you? Meghadri, you were the only person who has given the answer, but I hope you have understood what mistake you have made. Okay. And this is how these questions should be taken. So what I did, let's quickly have a recap of this. Okay. So first I calculated the remaining number of pens, right? So 11x was the selling price when there was a profit of 300 rupees. 9x was the sales when there was a loss of 300 rupees. I can say that the gap between them will be equal to the gap between the profit or the loss. So 2x is equal to 600. From here, we'll get the remaining number of pens as 300. Okay. Then I made simple equations. First of all, the total cost price, including the wage of this employee. Then the total selling price. Okay. Considering the first case in which there was a profit of 300, right? Equating cost price plus profit is equal to selling price, and that is how I got the answer, right? Am I clear? Okay, so you did it per pen. Oh, nice. So per pen, the profit is 2.5. So yes, 2.5 multiplied by 400. It is absolutely correct. But that is not the profit. You calculated the wage per pen. Okay, wage per pen. So that means 1,000 is the wage. Total number of pens sold is 400. 1,000 upon 400 is 2.5. Okay, this is what you did. You did not do anything incorrect. Okay, now Meghadri, just a small thing, like you mentioned that the answer is 2.5. Now this question, if you'll observe that this is a theta question. Now in theta questions, the answer is never in terms of decimals or fractions. The answer is always in terms of a whole number, starting from 0, 1, 2, 3. And I've seen it, it is never a whole number as well. It is a natural number. Okay. So ये एक छोटा सा हिंट होता है कि हमारा जो आंसर होगा ना वो नेचुरल नंबर होगा इन केस द क्वेश्चन इज अ थीटा क्वेश्चन. ऑलराइट, जनरली ऐसा होता है. Alright, so that was the first question, friends. Let's move on and look at question number 2. So question number 2 from CAT 2021 slot 2. Please do not commit any kind of error in this question. Now this is also a very, very logical question. So I'll read out the question for you. Anil, Bobby, and Chintu, I'll call them A, B, and C. A, B, and C jointly invest in a business and agree to share the overall profit in the proportion of their investment. Anil's share in the investment is given as 70%. Now, his share of profit decreased by 420 if the overall profit goes down from 18% to 15%. Right? Whatever the investment is, it is given that whatever profit will be there at the end, it will be divided in the ratio of their investments. Anil's investment is given, that is 70%. So obviously Anil will get 70% of whatever profit is incurred. ठीक है ना? Now they are saying that Anil's share of profit decreases by 420 rupees if the profit goes down from 18% to 15%. Right? Next, they're saying that Chintu's share of profit increases by rupees 80 if the overall profit goes up from 15% to 17%. Now, this is but obvious that if the profit will increase, if the profit will go up, then the share of the profit will go up, and vice versa. If the profit goes down, if the profit is decreased, then the share of the profit will also decrease. Right? Now, accounting to these statements that are given, you will have to find out the amount in INR invested by Bobby. I'll give you 1 more minute to answer this. You can start this question by assuming the investment, the total investment, let's say as 100x. Okay, 100x investment assume कर सकते हो. All right, Vansh, first one to give an answer. Vansh says answer is 2000. So Vansh, you're saying that the amount invested by Bobby is 2000. Now, Vansh, if you have done the calculation, can you give me the total investment made by all three of them? So you are saying that Bobby's investment is 2000. All right. So what will be the total investment made by A, B, and C? Please write that number as well? All right, Meghadri, nice. So Meghadri, in that case, what will be your answer? Okay, Vansh. So Vansh, according to you, the total investment is 10,000, out of which 70% will be Anil's investment, that is 7,000, and 2,000 will be Bobby's investment. Okay. So you are saying that Chintu's investment will be 1,000. This is what you are saying. All right. चलिए डिस्कस करते हैं. So I'll start by assuming the total investment as 100x. Okay. Now Anil's share in investment is 70%. So whatever the profit will be, his share in profit will be 70% of the total profit. Right? Now let's read this statement. Now his share of profit decreases by something. Okay, let's not read this value. His share of profit decreases by something if the overall profit goes down from 18% to 15%. So if the profit is 18%, so investment is 100x. So profit is 18%, that means it will be 18x, right? So in one case, the profit is 18x, and then if it goes down to 15%, that means if it becomes 15x, in that case, the share of Anil goes down by 420 rupees. Right? Now, for this statement, they have considered two scenarios when the profit goes down from 18% to 15%. Investment is 100x, so profit will be 18x and 15x respectively, right? Obviously, since Anil's investment is 70%, so his share in the profit, Anil's share in the profit in both the cases has to be 70% only, right? So in the first case, his share of profit will be 70% of 18x. In the second case, his share of investment share in profit will be 70% of 15x. The difference between these two is given as 420. From here, you will be able to find out the value of x. Okay, so 70% of 18x minus 70% of 15x, that is 70% of 3x is equal to 420. From here, you will get the value of x as 200. Okay. Now, if the value of x is 200, you can say that at the top, the total investment will be 100x. That is 20,000. All right. So once the total investment will be 20,000, not 10,000. All right. This is one thing. Now I'm able to get the value of x, or I'm able to get the total investment using Anil's share of investment. Okay. Now let's talk about the next data that is given. So I'm underlining this data. Chintu's share of profit increases by rupees 80 if the profit goes up from 15 to 17%. Okay. Now let's look at Chintu. Now since Chintu's share in investment is not given, so let's assume that Chintu's share in investment is C percentage. Okay, so again there are two scenarios, P1, P2. Okay, if the profit goes up from 15% to 17%, so profit was 15x, now it has become 17x, because of which his share in profit increases by rupees 80. Okay, so I can say that C percentage of 17x minus C percentage of 15x. The difference is rupees 80. Okay, so C percentage of 2x is equal to 80, right? And from here, you will be able to get the value of C. All right. Now we know the value of x. The value of x is 200. So C percentage of 2x, that is 400, is equal to 80. So the value of C will become 20%. Okay, so Chintu's share in investment will become 20%. Now Anil's share in investment is already given 70%. Chintu's share in investment I've calculated 20%. So I can say that Bobby's share in investment will be the remaining, that is 10%. All right. So Bobby's share in investment is 10%. The total investment is 20,000. So Bobby's share will be 2,000. Look at the top of your screen. All right. Fine. So the amount in INR invested by Bobby will become 2,000. That is option B. Am I clear? Simple question tha. I have made these equations. You could have eliminated one or two steps from here, and that will save you plenty of time. Okay. So which all steps you can avoid writing? You can avoid writing this step. Okay. And you may directly write this thing 70% of 3x. Similarly, you can avoid writing this step and directly write C percentage of 2x or C percentage of 400. Okay. So this saves you a lot of time. And this question, I would say that this is moderate level of difficulty and this is doable. This question, this type of question should be done in CAT examination. The maximum time you should be taking to solve this type of question should not be more than 90 to 120 seconds. Okay. All right. आगे चलते हैं. Let's look at question number 3. Now, question number 3 is a very easy question, okay? And it totally depends on the way you solve this question. So it may take you 2 minutes to solve this question. It may take you 30 seconds to solve this question, okay? So you will have to decide how much time you're going to take, but can be solvable in easily in 30 seconds, okay? So CAT 2020 slot number 1, the question says that a person spent rupees 50,000 to purchase a desktop computer and a laptop computer. He sold the desktop computer at 20% profit and the laptop at 10% loss. If overall he made a 2% profit, then the purchase price in rupees of the desktop is how much? So he has purchased two things, desktop and a laptop, a total of 50,000. He sold desktop and laptop at 20% profit and 10% loss respectively. And overall on the entire transaction, he got a profit of 2%. So we'll have to find out the price at which he purchased the desktop computer, or they may ask about the laptop computer as well. All right, Meghadri, good. So like I said that there are two different methods. In one, you can take more than 1 minute, probably 2 minutes, right? In the other case, in the other method, the question can be answered in less than 30 seconds. Okay, I'll show you both the methods. But let me see if I'm getting the answer from any other student or not. Vansh, what about your answer? And the other students who are watching this session live, any other answer from them? Okay, let's have a look at both the methods. Now we have to find out the price of desktop computer. Okay, So I will assume this price as X, cost price. So cost price of desktop is X and cost price of laptop will then become 50,000 minus X. Okay. Now we have a profit on desktop, loss on laptop, and then overall profit. So now you can make the equations for the cost price and selling prices, but it's better to make the equation of the net profit. Okay, net profit की equation बनानी चाहिए. So 20% profit on desktop, that is 20 percentage of X, 10% loss on laptop minus 10 percentage of 50,000 minus X, and that will be equal to the net profit, which is 2%. So 2 percentage of 50,000. All right. So this is the net equation. Like this is the equation of net profit, right? So the profit on desktop minus the loss on laptop will be equal to the overall profit. So 20% minus 10 minus plus. So 30 percentage of X is equal to 2 percentage of 50,000. That is 1,000, and 10 percentage of 50,000, that is 5,000, so 6,000. Okay, so 30 percentage of X is 6,000. From here X comes out to be 20,000, right? Simple. Okay, so ज़्यादा time नहीं लगा, 1.5 minute it will take. Now this was the lengthy method that I was talking about. तो ये lengthy method है. अब इससे easy method, इससे short method देखते हैं. Okay, let's have a look at the shorter method. Now what I'll do is I will be applying allegations. Okay, allegations in this. Now desktop computer, laptop computer. Desktop computer, there is a profit of 20%. So 20% profit. Okay. Now you must understand, while we are applying allegations, the values on which the allegations is applied, the nature of all those values should be same. In this question, by nature, I would mean that either all three values will be profit or all the three values should be losses. Okay. So now I have 20% profit on desktop computer. Laptop, I have 10% loss. So 10% loss, I can write it as minus 10 percentage profit. Okay, right? And then overall, there is a profit of 2%. Apply allegations. So write this difference here. So minus 10 and 2, the difference is 12. And the other difference, 20 and 2, the difference is 18. Now the ratio 12 is to 18 is equivalent to 2 is to 3. Now after getting 2 is to 3, whatever the total purchase price was, 50,000. So divide 50,000 in the ratio 2 is to 3. The part of 2 will correspond to the price of desktop, which is 20,000, and 3 will correspond to laptop, which is 30,000. So the prices of desktop and laptop are 20,000 and 30,000 respectively. Now, if you understand this thing, there is no need to make equations in any of the questions like this. Kitna bhi difficult question hai, you can apply this method. This method is like applicable, it is valid. You may apply it and get the answer easily. Okay, so I have given you both the methods. Like totally up to you, whichever method you want to use, go ahead and do that. All right. Now with this, let's move on to our next question, question number 4. Now, question number 4 from CAT 2020 slot number 2. Read it carefully, try not to commit any mistake, and once again try to find out the most efficient method to solve this. CAT 2020 slot number 2, the question says that Anil buys 12 toys and labels each with the same selling price. Labels each with the same selling price. Be careful with this type of statements. So he's not selling the article, he has just labeled the article. Okay, fine. So what is this called? This is called the market price, the mark price. Okay. Now he sells 8 toys initially at 20% discount on the labeled price. Then he sells the remaining 4 toys at an additional 25% discount on the discounted price. Thus, he gets a total of 2,112 rupees and makes a profit of 10%. Now, without any discounts, his percentage of profit would have been how much? Yes, any answer? Okay. All right. No answers. No answers up till now. So let's begin with this. Now, Anil buys 12 toys and labels each with the same selling price. Labels each with the same selling price. So I'll start by assuming this label price, the mark price of each of the toys as 100x, right? Okay, so 12 toys, he labels them at the same selling price. So he marked all the toys at the same mark price. Done. Now he sells 8 of these toys initially at 20% discount. So 100x is the mark price, discount is 20 percentage. So 100x reduced by 20 percentage, it will get 80x. Okay, so these 8 toys are sold at a price of 80x. Done. Then he sells the remaining 4 toys at an additional discount of 25%. Additional discount of 25% on the discounted price. So what was the discounted price? The discounted price was 80x. On 80x, he further gives a 25% discount. So 25% of 80x will now be reduced. ठीक है ना? So अब ये जो second discount है, its value will be calculated on 80x, not on 100x. Okay? So 25% of 80x is 20x. So further 80x is reduced by 20x and you will get 60x, right? ठीक है? So out of total 12 toys whose mark price, each mark price was 100x, 8 were sold at 80x each and the remaining 4 were sold at 60x each, right? So now let's talk about the total mark price. So total mark price of 12 toys will be 12 multiplied by 100x. That is 1200x. Okay. The total selling price of these 12 toys. So for the first 8 toys, it is 80x. And for the next 4 toys, it is 60x each. So this comes out to be 640x plus 240x, and that is 880x, right? And he gets a total of 2,112 rupees and makes a 10% profit. So this selling price is 2112, okay, right? And he gets a profit of 10 percentage, right? Now, friends, one very important thing with respect to this question. Now, you will not realize at the time when you will be solving such questions, but you may realize this particular thing later on, that there are some questions, handful of questions in which some extra data, some redundant data, some useless data is given, okay, right? And without that data, we can also find out the answer. In this question, that data is this value 2112. Now, 2112 is actually not required in this question. Let's see why. Okay. So now mark price, I've got 1200x total. Selling price total is 880x with a profit of 10%. So if selling price is 880x and a profit of 10% is incurred, I can say that the total cost price will be 880x divided by 1.1, and that is 800x. Using the basic concepts of cost price, profit, and selling price is given, profit is given, I can calculate the cost price, and the cost price comes out to be 800x. Done. So the cost is 800x, the selling price is 880x, and the mark price is 1200x. Now let's see what do we have to do. The question is, without any discounts, his percentage profit will be. Now, if no discounts are given, that means we are selling the article at the mark price. So selling price will become 1200x. So cost is 800 and the selling price is 1200x, right? So I'm having a profit of 400x over the cost price of 800x, and you can calculate the profit percentage. It comes out to be 50%, and you can realize that I have not used this 2112. Okay, so I'm telling you that such things, at a lot of times, you will be able to realize them once you have solved the question, once you have wasted the time. But if you will do good amount of practice, a lot of practice, then you can identify such numbers, you can identify such values which cannot be used, which will not be used in the question, and you can save your time because of it. Okay, if I would have involved this number 2112 in my calculation, I was calculating the value of x, and that would have wasted some time. Okay, so without using that, still the answer will be 50%, and that is the correct answer of this question. Okay, so that was question number 4. Let's look at the next question, question number 5, CAT 2020 slot number 3. Now, a very regular question this one is, it's just the way you will approach this one, so that you will not have any confusion while marking the final answer. ठीक है, बहुत important है. Do not like make things very simple, make things look very simple. Huh? Write each and everything carefully. Make sure that what you are assuming at the beginning, and on the basis of that, you will do the further calculations and get the final answer. Now read every part one by one, okay? Very carefully. So let's read it through. देखें. A man buys 35 kg of sugar and sets the mark price in order to make 20% profit, right? So you can start by assuming the cost price and then you will be able to write the mark price as well, okay? Now he sells 5 kg, so now he's not selling the entire quantity in one go, the way the things have happened in the previous question, right? So 12 toys were there, he sold 8 toys and then 4 toys. Here something like that is happening. So he sells 5 kgs at this price, that means at the mark price, 15 kg at 10% discount. Accidentally, he wasted 3 kgs of sugar and he sells the remaining sugar by raising the mark price by P percentage so as to make an overall profit of 15%. Then we'll have to find out the nearest value of P. Okay, what is P percentage? He sells the remaining sugar by raising the mark price by P percentage, right? So the remaining amount of sugar is sold at some value higher than the mark price, P percentage higher than the mark price. Okay, so you will need to find out at what price this remaining sugar is sold. Okay. Okay. Now let's solve this using the most efficient method, right? Now, first of all, I'll assume the cost price of 1 kg as 100x. So mark price of 1 kg will become 120x because he sets the mark price in order to make a profit of 20%, right? Now, once again, it's totally up to you. You can make the equation of profit or you can make the equation of selling price and cost price and then calculate the profit. Now, since overall profit is given, like in one of the questions, I have made an equation of overall profit. So here I'll also be doing the same thing. Okay. Now let's start selling this sugar one by one. So he sells 5 kg at this price. Okay. So selling price for the first lot of 5 kgs is the same as mark price, that is 120x. So if the article is sold at 120x, the cost price was 100x, so the profit on each kg will be 20x. So for this 5 kgs, the net profit will be 20x. I am making the equation of profit. Okay. Next, 15 kg is sold at 10% discount. So the selling price for this 15 kg is at 10% discount. So mark price is 120. 120 ka 10% of that 12. So 120 minus 12 is 108. So this is sold at 108x, right? So if the selling price is 108x, cost price was 100x. So that means the profit for each of these 15 kgs was 8x. Done? Now, accidentally, he wasted 3 kgs. Now, since he wasted, that means he's selling this 3 kg at 0. Cost price was 100x, selling price is 0. So there is entire loss on this 3 kg, right? So minus the loss on this 3 kg, which is 3 multiplied by 100x, right? Now, what is the remaining quantity? 5 kg is sold, 15 kg is sold, 3 kg is sold out of 35 kgs. So that means I'm left with 12 kgs. Now, let's say this 12 kgs is sold at a profit of K. Okay, so this is the profit. So the remaining is sold at a profit of K and the overall profit is 15%. So on 35 kgs, the overall profit is 15x. So this is the entire equation. We'll find out the value of K in terms of x, right? Okay, so let's simplify it. So 12K is equal to 525x on the right hand side and left hand side इसको simplify कर लेते हैं. So 100 plus 120 is 220 minus 300, it is minus 80x on the left hand side. It will go on the right hand side, it will become plus 80x. Okay. Now simplification, 12k is equal to 605x and the value of k will be 605 upon 12x. Now 605 upon 12, 600 upon 12 is exactly 50. So it will be 50 point something x, right? Question may be below where p is nearest to. All right, so we can do a little bit approximations. Now what was k? K was the profit at which this 12 kg was sold with a cost price of 100x. Okay, so if the profit is 50x, cost price was 100x, so selling price for this remaining 12 kg will be 150x, right? Now question में क्या बोला हुआ था? He sells the remaining sugar, he sells the remaining sugar raising the mark price by p percentage. What was the mark price? It was 120. So 120 was raised by p percentage to get this selling price of 150. So now we'll have to calculate this 150 is more than 120 by what percentage? Clear calculations. It is 30 upon 120 into 100 and that comes out to be 25%, right? Now 25% is among the options. Option D, 25%. Meghadri, your answer is absolutely correct. All right. So friends, that is all about this question, question number 5. Okay. I hope you have liked this, you all are liking these sessions that we are conducting for all of you. Okay. Now, I'll stop on this question for a few more seconds. And in case you have any doubt, anything you want to ask on this question, please do that. Else we'll call it a day. So this was the last question for the day. Now, in case you have any other query, any other requirement, any other suggestion, any feedback, or if you want us to conduct any particular sessions, right? So you can post it in the chat box and we'll look into it and I'll definitely conduct those sessions in the future. Okay. In case you are suffering with your preparation, you want us to help you with the strategy to prepare for CAT, you can mention that and we can plan a session on that in which we can tell you about the general strategy that should be used in order to prepare for each of these examinations, right? So friends, that is all from my side. In case you have any question, please ask me a question, type something in the chat box and I'll be happy to answer to your query. Thank you very much. You do please subscribe our channel, Career Launcher MBA channel, like, share, and keep watching all these sessions in the future as well. All the very best. Have a nice time. Bye-bye.